live on YouTube. Hello again. Welcome to another episode of the Franchise Academy. My name is Tom Scarda, and I am the host, and I am a franchise advisor and strategic advisor, that is, to people looking to buy franchises. So I'm a franchise consultant by day and a podcast host by night, I guess. And I help people around the country figure out what franchising opportunity is best for them. And I offer a free service that matches folks based on skills and personality and goals. And I like to call it the eHarmony of business. I am the author of the #1 bestseller, Franchise Savvy. Find that on my website, thefranchiseacademy.com. And also, while you're there, check out my new course, the A to Z's on how to buy a franchise. Everything you need to know. Is a video course that you can purchase and study franchising on your own. So today I'm really excited because I have an old friend of mine, Jackie Bondanza, is with us, and she is the CEO of Hounds, USA. So this is really an interesting story. I know Jackie and also the founder, Mike Gould, for several years. We used to have a radio show, both of us, on Long Island, and we were on each other's shows and we became friendly. And then I consulted with Hounds USA to help them start growing their franchise in a franchise sales capacity. And then we found another company we'll talk about in a minute to help them get to where they are now, which is really exciting. And this company is a rocket ship, I have to tell you. And under the leadership of my friend Jackie, I mean, this is a great place to be if you're thinking about franchising. So Jackie, welcome to the Franchise Academy.
Hey, Tom, thanks so much for having me.
No, this is awesome. So you guys are just blowing up, and I see your stuff on the internet everywhere, especially in the franchise, articles and magazines. So give us a quick background on Houndstown USA. What's the concept?
All right. So Houndstown was founded over 20 years ago now, which is crazy how time flies, by Mike Gould. He was one of the founding members of the NYPD K9 unit. And like he says, all that really means is he's old if he's the founding member of something, especially the New York City Police Department. But it's such an important piece of kind of the Houndstown history to share that. So Mike's had such a long storied career in professional canine management and became one of the first police officers to have a dog as a partner. So that really started this idea many moons ago of creating a place where dogs could go and interact and kind of be themselves. And many years later, Houndstown was born on Long Island, here on the island, and grew over the past 20 years. We now have 19 stores in 7 different states, and we're a fully interactive pet care facility. So we do interactive daycare, boarding, and grooming. So dogs are dropped off, 6, 7 in the morning, and they're playing all day, wrestling around, getting that energy out, and their parents are picking them up at 7, 8 o'clock at night. And we like to say they go home with the Houndstown hangover. So that means they're tired and wiped out when they get home.
Yes, and we've experienced it with our dog. So it's a really great location, and it's all about dogs and really not about the humans and the human parents. And that was something that I really took away from Mike, is the way he brings everyone that walks into the building down to the dog level, not trying to make the dogs, become human. And That's how he is so successful with training and everything that he does with dogs. So are you looking for franchise owners that are, dog maniacs? Is that the key to this?
No. So ironically, we look for people who have business experience, just like I would imagine so many other franchises. We actually like when people come in and, like Mike says, they don't know which end of the dog is which, because we prefer to teach everybody the Houndstown way. So we have a very particular way that we like to train our franchisees about dog management, because it's just so unique to the industry. So no dog management experience needed. It also, of course, it helps that you like dogs. But this is a business where you're going to be interacting mostly with employees and customers. Of course, there's some dog interaction, but we're not playing with dogs and kind of rolling around on the floor with dogs all day. So No dog management experience needed.
So that's key. And so it's great, to love dogs, and I have, several dogs. I have one right now, but have had multiple at one time. And and so you play with your dog at home. You don't buy a business to play with dogs. And that is a really big thing that people need to understand. And that really goes with most franchises, as you alluded to. I mean, I talk about all the time the fact, if you have a barber's license or a beautician's license, the franchises that do hair cutting will not grant you a license.
Yep.
Because if you're cutting heads when somebody calls in sick, then you bought yourself a job, and that's not what we want. Even you as a buyer, you want to grow a legacy business and scale it and make that kind of money. So that's what it's all about. This happens to just be a vehicle in dogs, which is a recession resistant business model, in my opinion. So how did you guys not survive in a recession, but how'd you deal with COVID?
Yeah. So, well, you're right to say that, traditionally the pet care industry has been recession resilient. We never say anything's recession proof, because that's a step too far in my mind. But we've been around for 20 years. We survived through the housing crisis, 2006. Superstorm Sandy, which out here on Long Island was a big deal for us. It had an economic impact. And then, of course, through COVID. So COVID will end up being one of the best things that ever happened to our system. It really propelled us just into this next universe. I think a lot of people, it caused a lot of people to want to step outside of what they were doing. Some people got laid off. Some people just wanted to change jobs and just kind of take matters into their own hands professionally. So we started to get a lot of really amazing candidates come into the system through COVID. And luckily we were able to pivot and just kind of change the way we were doing our discovery days, and to allow people to feel comfortable continuing to come. So we continue to award franchises through COVID. We continue to open businesses. We opened 5 stores last year in 2020. So we never missed a beat. We really took the opportunity to just keep going. And we were lucky that our employees and our staff came along with us for the crazy ride. So we're coming out of this more on top of the mountain than we've ever been. So.
Yeah. And that goes for a lot of franchises. I mean, I've been doing franchise matching for 16 years, and this is like the busiest I've ever been. Yep. In regard to candidates calling and buying franchises. So with Houndstown, I mean, it's essentially a low investment for this kind of business, right? I mean, how many square feet building do you need? And kind of what is the Upstart?
So we're considered a lower cost investment compared to our competitors. We're about a third to a half of the cost of our competitors. And that's really because the way that Mike founded the model, it was built to be very simple. So we use a lot of really simple build out materials, and we built the stores, like Mike says, from 18 inches off the ground. So from the dog's perspective, dogs don't need overcomplicated, air filtration systems and flooring that's, conducive to their arthritis. That's all kind of human thought process to that the dogs don't actually need. Dogs are animals. They want to come in, they want to play in a safe, secure environment. So we're able to do that without having our franchisees spend $1 million. So, that's what we've always been focused on since we started 20 years ago.
And that was always something that was impressive to me, is that you could do it like that. And I remember Mike saying years ago when I was hanging around there a lot is, if you need this, you go to Home Depot and get it. You're not going to special order it from, some facility somewhere in the Midwest that's making whatever cages or whatever. So that's something that is really important, I think, as people understand or try to understand the Houndstown model, is that it's built for dogs, not for humans. And I don't know if this is still true, but something that really impressed me a long time ago was, people would always say, well, can the customers have a video cameras installed so we could watch, online what's happening with the dog all day? And Mike was adamant at that time anyway about, oh no, we're not doing video cameras for the customers. Is that still true?
That's still true. And there's a couple reasons for that. So first and foremost, we're centrally alarmed to the fire department. And we have a closed circuit camera system that all of our employees use and our owners. So we're always checking the cameras to make sure everything's okay. But we're very purposeful in the fact that we don't want customers viewing the cameras because it's really distracting. So it's really distracting for the operation of our day. We had one of our stores on the island used to be a pet care facility. And in that pet care facility, they had a camera. They had access to cameras for customers. And that company called us one day and they said, "Hey, we're going out of business." They'd only been in business for 4 months. Are you interested in buying this and turning it into a Hounds Town? And so we happened to have a set of franchisees who were looking in the market. So it was a great fit. And when I asked the owner of that store, I said, why are you going out of business 4 months after opening? And after telling me, he didn't know how to market correctly and he didn't have enough capital, the third reason he said was camera access. He said, it cost me so much more money in labor because people were calling all day long while they were watching the cameras and they were concerned about their dog. They didn't see their dog. Their dog was taking a nap. They didn't think the dog should be taking a nap. So it caused him to have to hire someone to sit at the front just to field phone calls all day. And what that does is it distracts from what we're there to do. We are there to take care of the dogs and to offer the dogs this opportunity with as little human interjection as possible. So instead, we use Facebook groups. We use private Facebook groups to post a lot of videos and photos throughout the day. So people can still see their dogs. It's just a different avenue. It just allows for a little bit of a different connection to what's going on every day.
I don't know, Jackie. It sounds a lot like you're using your marketing background to help push those photos on Facebook.
Well, Facebook's it's a great marketing platform and a lot of our customers are on it. So it's really easy for them to check in during the day and, they see a video of their dog running around having fun and they can go back to their day too. And they're not constantly checking the cameras.
Right. And you could tag it and do what, those crazy, social media things and help the brand, I guess, that's awesome. It's really great. And you're good at that stuff. So that's extra special. But so staffing, let's talk about staffing. How many people do you need? What does that look like?
So we suggest that our franchisees start out hiring about 6 to 8 entry-level kennel attendants. And they're part-time. And so we want to have at least 2 people on a shift at all times for safety reasons. And when a facility starts seeing more than about 25 dogs a day, that facility then needs to add a third staff. Our stores are opening now to such a high volume that we're actually needing 3 people on out of the gate. So we changed our protocols just these past couple openings to make sure that franchisees are a little more prepared staffing wise. So we're looking for about 6 to 8 people. Awesome. On payroll. There's only going to be 2 to 3 people on at any given time.
Right. And if I remember correctly, it's more like 2 kind of shifts, like morning, day, and then afternoon into the evening. No overnight, because dogs don't need to be babysat overnight. Is that right?
Yep. So our shift, so we're open, 14 hours a day. It's a long day. And we're open 6 days. Well, we're open 7 days a week. Sunday just for 2 hours for boarding, pickup, and drop off. So our shifts are split, morning shift, afternoon shift. So you need 6 to 8 employees to fill that many hours in the week as well.
And then you need somebody specific for grooming or not?
So we don't have groomers in our facilities for a few reasons. It's really hard to find good groomers. It's like finding a good hairstylist. It's hard to come by. And our model, really our franchisees are going to make more of a profit if they are just offering our bathing services. So our exit and spa bath services are conducted by our entry-level employees. So it's part of their hourly wage. So the profit margin for the franchisee is much higher than if a groomer was employed by the store. And, you're paying the groomer 50 to 60% of the profit of the groom. So we a lot of our stores don't offer haircuts. They're only offering spa and exit baths.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I wasn't sure about that. But that's awesome. And I know that's a really great kind of side revenue generator. So you have several streams of revenue in under one roof.
We do. Yeah, grooming is a really important piece of revenue for us next to daycare and boarding.
Absolutely. And then are you doing pickup services and stuff like that, or is that not part of the plan?
So we want our franchisees to have a wrapped vehicle. And right now it's optional if they want to offer a pet taxi service. So the pet taxi is not a revenue generator. I always tell our franchisees, we're not retiring to Hawaii from being a pet taxi driver, but it's an important piece of marketing and branding. So to have that wrapped vehicle, and the idea is the employee or the manager of the store or the franchisee, him or herself, is going to be driving the vehicle back and forth to the store and getting that road time.
I don't think there's anything better than a wrapped vehicle for advertising.
Yeah, it's kind of old school, but it really works. Like, we'll get people call and say, "Hey, I saw the Jeep driving down, 25, and and they're looking for services." So it definitely happens.
Oh, I mean, there's probably books written on it, and just like when you think about a really big franchise, I think most people know 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Yes.
Part of their plan is when that truck is not being used, you're going to park it in a very conspicuous spot. So no matter where you are in America, if you keep an eye out, you'll see a 1-800-GOT-JUNK truck at the edge of a parking lot, in the front, on a corner, in the gas station. Just so it's a billboard.
It's a billboard. It's a rolling billboard. So
it's a rolling billboard. And if you could have a funky vehicle, even better. Like some franchises want you to have like a smart car because it looks funny.
Yeah.
Or a Mini Cooper or something like that, or a Hummer, which some people have for their wrap vehicle. But
yep. We've had a Hummer.
Right. Yeah. I know. So how many units do you guys have now?
So we have 19 stores that are open in 6 different states, and we're about to have our biggest year yet. I'm preparing for next year. We've got 38 stores that are either in construction or site selection. I believe 28 of them are actually in construction and set to open in the next 15 months. So we are preparing for a very busy year next year.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome. So great. And just, I don't know if you could rattle this off, but what states are you in case anybody wants to check them out live?
Sure. So we're open now in New York, New Jersey, Florida, Henderson, Nevada, Troy in Michigan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Atlanta, Georgia. And stores coming up, Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn Strong, which I love. I love being able to bring another New York store to the market. Couple more opening in Jersey. We're getting out into Denver, which is amazing for us. Couple more in the Tampa market, Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Kansas City. We're really going to start popping up everywhere.
Wow. That's amazing. So congratulations to you and Mike. It's just amazing. When I first met you guys, I think there was like maybe 6 stores open in Long Island only. And
yes.
So that's so cool.
Yeah, we've come a long way in 3 years, and you've been a part of the journey, and you're actually responsible for connecting us to Raintree, which is our development partner. They've been incredible for us. They've helped. They are responsible for our growth. So comes full circle to have this talk with you now.
Yeah, this is so great. So Raintree was owned by a mentor of mine, Michael Haith. And now one of my old friends in franchising, Mike Edwards, actually runs the operation for Raintree. So they're a great group that represent several franchises and do the development and bring franchises from 1 to 30 in a 2-year time. So so that's great, and I'm so happy that connection worked out for you guys.
It did. Yeah, they've actually we're about to sign our deal for our 100th territory. So the next round of signing. So they took us from 6 stores to, now 3 years later, over 100. So
God bless. That is so awesome. So happy to hear that. And that 100 store, by the way, for those of you that don't know franchising that well, is a pivotal point. I forget the exact numbers, but only 15% of franchises in America get past 5 units.
Is that right? Wow.
That's it. And so when you get a store that gets to, 25, that's a really big deal. When you get to 100 and the stores are open and operating fully, that makes the franchisor in most cases fluid in income. That means that they could live on the royalty income without selling another franchise. Yeah. And so this is a really big deal for you guys. And so I'm grateful to have been a very small part of the very beginning of that. And so where do you guys see yourselves, I don't know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Well, it's interesting. So, the past 8 years I've been doing this, I've just had my head down, like just trying to get all the work done, getting all these stores open. And just in the past year, I think COVID probably prompted this. I started to say to myself, okay, we're getting bigger now. Like we've got to have it's time to implement the bigger vision that's in my head, right? We've got to get it on paper. We've got to share it with everybody. So when I hired a chief operating officer in June, Rob Flanagan, who's amazing. He's like my right-hand man. He's so fantastic. It's a great operator. So he's been helping really build the hiring plan for us and to help take our vision, help put our vision on paper. So he implemented entrepreneurial operating system, EOS, which has been revolutionary for our brand. And so he kind of prompted me when he came on. He said, well, what's your vision for the brand in 10 years? And it took me a day or two to verbalize it and put it on paper. But I came up with, I want every dog in America to have access to a Houndstown in 10 years. And what that means is, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of Houndstowns across the country. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we're a 10th of the way there. So
you are, which is just a grand place to be. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to buy more than one unit, say I wanted to own, all of, Sarasota County in Florida, can somebody buy more than one unit? Do you award multi-units to the right people?
We award multi-units. We're not awarding whole markets and whole territories. Our strategy is just a little different. Our franchisees tend to be single unit operators right now. That will allow us to get the brand open and around in the country a little bit quicker. Because, in a multi-unit, you're on a development schedule. Yeah. So we do award we have several 3-packs, to the right person. They have to be financially qualified and have some experience we prefer in franchising or in running a business. But we have our strategy is mainly focused on single unit operators.
That's great. That is awesome. And so when you are thinking about the operators, again, it's not people that love dogs, but it's people that love dogs and have business experience. And I had a question I was going to ask that just escaped me, but so I'm going on to another question. So are there any specific markets that you're looking to open in right now? Like, we're dying to have, I don't know, whatever market, Albuquerque. I mean, is there anything like that?
Well, I'd love to get some more stores open in New Jersey. It's right next to our home state of New York. We are sold out on Long Island, but we still have Westchester available. We've got parts of Queens available. We're opening in Brooklyn, so that's amazing. So I'd love to continue to build out the Jersey market. There's still a ton of potential there. And also in the Florida market, we're getting a lot of traction there now. We've got 2 stores open there, another 5 set to open this year, but there's still a lot of availability. A lot of people are moving to Florida and some of the southern states. So the need is going to be there over the next couple of years. So I would say, Florida and New Jersey, we'd like to continue to build.
Okay, that's good to know. But if somebody's listening to this podcast now and they want to find out more, what's the best website to check you guys out?
So we've got a franchising website. It's got a lot of great info on there. Houndstownfranchise.com. You can also check out our consumer site at houndstownusa.com. That's customer facing.
Oh, okay. So you have a franchise facing. That's awesome. That's big time franchising stuff. Didn't have that a couple of years ago. That's great. And
yes, it's important. Everybody, needs access to, all the information. We're very big on being as transparent as possible and giving people as much information as possible. This is a 10-year plus investment for people. Yep. And, we're investing partners. So we're not looking to sell franchises. We really have to be careful about making sure we're making the right partnerships with people. So
sure. Yeah. It's a long-term relationship, as with any franchise. So you got to pick, and that's the thing. Even if somebody comes to you with money, it doesn't mean that they're a fit for Houndstown specifically. And so, right. Because I know you guys years ago were talking about awarding franchises to the right people and not selling franchises. And that's very, very noble and really talks about integrity for the brand and for you and for Mike and the rest of the team. So that's amazing. If you have somebody out there listening who is thinking about franchising, just in general, what advice would you have for them?
So, when I started doing this almost 10 years ago, I knew nothing about franchising, and I have a journalism background. So my instinct was to go and research everything, read books, listen to podcasts. I mean, this is great if you're listening to this and you're just trying to pick up pieces of information on what franchising is and who are the players, what are the good, industries to think about. So do research and understand, all of the key elements of franchising. What's a franchise agreement, the FDD? There's so much to know and understand that can be confusing. But I find that our candidates that come through that have done their homework, they feel more comfortable making a decision because they understand the franchising piece. It's easy to be drawn to the brand, right? But it's harder to understand the franchising piece. So that's my advice, is to take the time to understand the franchising piece.
That's great. That's really good. No one has actually ever said it like that before on the podcast. So I appreciate that, Jackie. That's good stuff. So any advice? So here's, I guess, a question to kind of tie this up for me. But so you've come a long way in franchising, from zero to now CEO of a 100-unit brand. What have you learned, or what could you share with a franchise owner, somebody that's starting to franchise out? Is there any lessons like that that come to mind? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
no, that's a great question. There's so many lessons. I think the biggest one for me was just having humility and listening to my gut. And it's hard because there's so many pieces of information coming at you. There's people that will tell you to do different things, and they conflict one another and they contradict one another. And you've got to stay true to your brand. And, for me, the past 8 years I've been doing this, I became the brand, whether that's healthy or not. But I was able to kind of make decisions for Houndstown based on what I felt and knew, and, what resonated with me. So I think just kind of owning it yourself we're very big on kind of self-reflection and ownership here. And I think that's really helped, us get where we are.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And to treat dogs like dogs and people like people.
Well, that is that is a key element of our brand for sure, is we're here for the dog above all else. That is one of our core values. And it's true. It's not BS. It's true.
Right. And when anybody engages with the brand, they see that clearly.
I think so.
Yes, they do. And that's what I love about the brand, and the way Mike started it and the way you're kind of taking it into the stratosphere. I'm very excited, happy, proud. I don't know what to say in that regard, but it's just so great what you're doing. So I appreciate it. Any parting words of advice to anyone listening today?
Well, I would say, you know, when I first started doing this a long time ago, I was unhappy in my career. I was commuting 5 hours a day. I was up at 5:30 in the morning, 5 days a week. Tom, I know you have a similar story. And one day I just had it. And little did I know that Houndstown would change my life so much and franchising would change my life so much when I just brought my dog for daycare. And that's how I came into the brand. So just always keep your ears open and your eyes open and your antennas up, like Mike says, and look for the next opportunity in life that's going to help get you where you want to go.
Listen to your gut. I mean, that's what you said right before that. Listen to your gut. That's great. Jackie, I thank you so much for coming on. I know you're extremely busy opening 100 stores around the country. Thank you for your time. Anything that I can do for you guys, please let me know. And I just send you and please, Mike, send him my blessings and my regards.
Thanks, Tom, so much.
This is great. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye.